What's going on, everybody? It's Josh, aka the Mo's Muscle, and I'm coming at you with a Next Up podcast with my new friend Coleman, who we met this past weekend at Junior USA's. I'm gonna let him introduce himself, talk a little bit about himself. But we met at Junior USA's, hit it off while I was waiting to make weight, and we had a lot to talk about. So, Coleman, please introduce yourself, talk to the people, let them know what's going
Uh,
on with you.
hey guys, my name's Coleman. Coleman Chrzan, sorry. From New Jersey. I'm 26. I am a full-time coach. I also own a clothing business as well, which is new. I've been coaching for about 6 years. Wouldn't change anything I do in my life. Everything I've done so far has brought me to where I'm at, and I'm very thankful for everything I've learned. And I am based out of New Jersey and Florida,
Oh yeah.
in person at
So,
least.
so first and foremost, let's get into Junior USA's, not this year, but last year. And your
Oh,
boy
last year.
Joe.
Last year. So going into Junior USA's last year, so he wasn't supposed to do the show. I'll say that where it is. We were actually supposed to start doing a little bit. I did a little cleanup phase with him. And as I was seeing things, and I was like, hey, let's actually start, like, let's start pushing because we're going to do North Americans. Like, we have about, I think we had like 46-ish weeks. I think if I remember, I was like, hey, we got like 46 weeks. Like, somewhere deep in my timeline in my cam on Instagram, like you could see, like I posted like one of his things, and then I looked at it a second time, and I think I was driving to the gym, and I like was scrolling back and forth between his updates, and I was looking at him, and I was like, and I just sat there and I was thinking, I was like, man, he could really turn pro. I think at Junior USA's, I think I can get him down to the weight cap, and I think he'll make weight because I didn't think he was going to make weight at first because of his height. He sits in between the 172 and the 176 cutoff. I think if I'm correct. Um,
He's that short. He looks
yeah, bro.
gigantic.
Bro, let me tell you, Joe's my best friend. I love Joe. Dude, he's a little ball of muscle. I gotta say, he has the biggest personality out of anyone you'll ever meet. He will make you laugh so hard. I'm very thankful for him. Originally, I did turn him away as a client because I didn't think I was good enough at the time to coach him. So I was like, hey, I think it's best if you work with someone else. Like, we're really good friends. I don't think I'm good and capable enough to work with you. But he was persistent, and persistence works, man. And I was like, you know what? Let's do it. I believe in you. You believe in me. If we can separate our friendship from coaching, then we can do it. So we started prep, and I was like, I want to say it was a Saturday. He sent his check in on Saturday morning. I had him doing like twice a week check ins, just like as I was looking at him and things like that. And I was like, just started putting PEDs in a little bit. I just bumped his test a little bit at the time and just kind of let things rock. And I was just looking at him, and I was like looking at his body change. And like I was like, damn, these are like 3 days apart. And like this is a pretty massive shift. And I saw that shift, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna trust my gut on this one. And I was like, and I'm gonna run with it. And I was like, I called him. I was on my way to the gym, and I was like, hey, I'm gonna throw an idea at you. You can tell me no. This is what I'm thinking. This is the timeline I think we're doing. And this is what I want to do. And these are the shows we're gonna do. And I was like, hey, I've never done this either. I've never done a back-to-back peak. Um, but I'm willing to do it, and I'm willing to like let it rock. And we'll let it fly, see what happens, let the cards fall where they fall. And he was like, you know what? Let's do it. And he was all on board. So he went from 1 week being in the off season to the next week, like, hey, we're starting prep. I'm not changing your food. Here's our timelines. And we just kind of ran with it. And the entire prep, like, he just kept getting better every single week. And I honestly, probably this one of the smoothest preps, if not the smoothest prep I've ever done with somebody.
He
And
looked insane. Like
dude,
both shows. I remember
did I ever
watching
send?
him for the first show.
Did I send you the picture of him backstage?
No,
Give me
I
like
think
one
you might have
second.
shown me quickly. But I remember watching him and being like, or watching the first show. I can't remember what show it was.
Oh,
And
Lehigh, when he got posted, dude, he got posted on Bodybuilders Without Borders, and I saw
fuck
the
that guy.
post. Nah, dude, I love Daniel. He's a nice guy. I know about the
Mm,
post the other day. I know why you're a little upset. I love Daniel. He
yeah,
loves bodybuilding at the end of the day. I'm not gonna put an opinion on anything. I don't know how to fucking view it. I think it's very weird this year, like the show out compared to last year. Was
100%.
significantly. It was a totally different. I will say the quality of Class A this year was higher than quality of Class A last year. Like they were all great quality overall, but I just was not sure about everything. Even judging, I didn't really agree with a lot of things that went on, but that's not my opinion. I'm not the one with the pen and paper. I'm just there as a coach, and I'm there as a viewer as well, like everyone else.
Yeah, I mean, me and you talked about it before going on stage. I was like, I don't think this is going to be a very big show. Um,
I'm on a podcast. Can you give me can you give me like 35 minutes? Or just text me it. Sweet. Okay. We're good.
I remember us sitting there and we were like, yeah, I don't think this is going to be very big. And you at one point were like, yeah, I don't even know if there's going to be five in the class. And I was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Um, but like at the end of the day, I just sit there and I say it more so now, the whole like fuck you thing. More so because it's like, yo, to post my government out there, um, I'm all for the like I've talked on this podcast several times about no second place pros. Don't believe it.
Yeah.
Think that is
I
stupid.
I yes and no. I think it depends on class. Men's physique should only be top one. I'm very certain on that. I think there's way too many men's physique pros. No offense to any men's physique pros who are first or second place winners. You guys are pros for a reason. This is just my opinion. I think they should limit cards for that. I think bikini should have limited cards. I think wellness can stay top two. I think that's a little bit more of a higher criteria to get involved into. Figure can be top two. It's a lot more competitive. Women's bodybuilding, women's physique, I still believe it's top two. Even though they are slower, they're lower classes, I still think they should stay where they're at in pro cards because getting to that amount of muscle and getting on stage and everything in between, especially in those classes, I think they deserve the top two. Bodybuilding, I think, should always be top two. I know USA's is only one card, but in reality, bodybuilding alone has the least amount of cards out of any other class. I believe it's only 9 total per year per class.
Yeah,
You have one at USA's, you have one at Olympia Amateur, you have one at the Arnold, then you have two in each class at
nationals.
nationals, and then you have top 3 at North Americans. That's it. That's all you have for bodybuilding. It is the most competitive,
100%.
just
That
statistically talking.
I 100% agree. And I talked multiple times. I thought second place pros are, stupid. I talked about a second place pro card shouldn't be a thing while sitting next to a second place pro that I was talking to at the time. So this is karma, 150% karma. I'm good
Hey,
with
you
that.
still deserve. I still think you deserve that card no matter what. You
And
and
that
Cameron
was
looked fucking phenomenal, and there's nothing anyone can say in between. You guys both showed up. You guys did the work. You guys got the card you guys deserved.
and that was my thing was
Cameron's also a freak, bro.
bro, like I sat there and I go,
Six
yo, me and
five.
Cameron were complete apples and oranges. He's 6'5" or 6'4", however tall he is. And he quite literally, I sat there and before the show even started, I said, as long as Dom Carter doesn't show up, I'm gonna be pretty good. What the fuck? What the fuck?
Yeah,
Yeah, Cam might as well be Dom.
I knew Cameron was coming the whole time. I'm fortunately be friends with Cameron. I met him at Legends this year in Vegas when I had Phil Durant on stage where he got his overall there, and I saw Cameron get his overall. And then we went to the Arnold together, and I watched him miss his card by one placing in the overall at the Arnold, which I think he did deserve it at the Arnold. That's my opinion. Um, and from there, I mean, we've been friends since. I've helped him out a little bit here and there, and he's a great guy.
Yeah, 100%. Talking to him backstage, like we were supposed to go out and get food that night, and he passed
Yeah, he
out.
fell asleep, bro.
So I have nothing against him at all. I thought he was awesome. He's actually supposed to wind up coming up here and come to pivot. So he was talking about going to Devs. So I had to
Yeah,
uh I had to make him pivot that and come here. So either way, I can't wait to see him. Hopefully we can get some training together. Maybe I could take like 3 steps in front of him so that he doesn't look like he's
bro,
7 foot tall in front of me next to
he
me.
looks crazy, bro.
Yeah, so and like I said, it was apples and oranges. Like I was probably one of the leaner people at the show. And Cam has one of the prettiest shapes I think I've ever seen. So
I
it
think what I
was.
think the leanest guy at the show was Class B Chris Arietta. Leanest guy at the show by far.
I could agree with that.
I that
Him and the
I
Class
haven't
C
seen
guy who won the overall.
Class C guy was also very I believe that he is Jimmy Sayers.
No,
Is his name?
that was Class B. Jeremy.
Okay. No, it is Jeremy Sayers.
Yeah, he was Class B. The guy
Okay.
who won the overall, I can't remember his name.
He looked
Jacob
awesome too.
Hostra. I'm definitely butchering his
Yeah.
name. But he was pretty fucking peeled.
No, dude, that was a great overall.
Yeah,
That
he
was that was a really, really good overall. I'll give him that.
that was super solid.
I
But
like the
then
Class A guy
also
as well.
I was gonna say I genuinely think all the class winners did like them picking the class winners were solid.
Yeah.
And they had a great overall battle at the end of the day. So
Yeah,
I was
no.
very pleased with that.
Yeah,
At
when you
minimum,
when you
making
sh
it a good show.
in class A when I was watching, even though Luke was in it, I watched I can't remember his name, him walk out, and I was like, this is the most complete guy here in this class. And I you knew as soon as he walked across stage, like no matter how they posed them or anything, he was the most complete, top to bottom, fits the criteria for to be the class winner. And there wasn't really any in between. Like you couldn't say one and two could be interchangeable in class A. I believe that guy fully deserved class A without a doubt.
I 100% agree.
Yeah.
His his lat width was ridiculous.
Yeah, man.
That when he opened up, it was like, oh
Super
shit.
nice guy. Super nice guy. I talked to him backstage a little bit. He was super nice.
So, uh, here's a great question. Actually, a kid I trained with today. What is one thing that you struggle most with as a bodybuilder? So I'm going to say, what's one thing you struggle most with as a bodybuilder, and what's one thing that you find that your clients struggle the most with?
So myself,
Yep.
um, hmm, that's a really good question. Um, I mean, we're all our biggest critic at the end of the day. And I think that goes both sides as like me and my clients. I think they are both their own biggest critic. And it's a good thing, like for me, I try and instill into them like the whole let your mind let me worry about everything else and you just worry about executing. And they do a great job of it. And I was like, if anything comes up, just shoot me a message, shoot me a text, shoot me a call, whatever you need, give me a ring. We'll figure it out. We'll hash it out. We'll get it all squared away, no matter what it is. Um, and that's that little bit right there is just like has helped them. And it's just finding a way to not beat yourself up over like, hey, I didn't increase weight. Hey, I didn't increase reps. Hey, I didn't lose X amount of weight. Hey, I look a little bit the same this week. Hey, I look watery today. And it's just like eliminating that from your mindset is, I mean, honestly, I think it's for all of us, is eliminating that and letting it just go to whoever the coach is at the time.
I agree, and I actually just I wound up just posting a reel on this whole thing. I am somebody personally who is extremely results oriented, right?
Yep.
I'm looking for that end result and I want to turn around. I'm shooting for that and I'm gunning for that the whole time. This was the first prep that I've ever turned around and I said, yo, listen, I'm not sitting there and telling people like, oh, I'm going for the overall, oh, I'm going to win my card, oh, this, that, and the third. I literally just sat there and even down to right now, I said, yo, I'm showing up to be damn hard to beat.
Yep.
No matter what, I'm showing up to be
It's
damn hard to
changing
beat.
your I think it's changing the mindset of like, hey, like winning is obviously something we all want to do. And we are all competitive at nature. I love winning just as much as the next person. I always like it's also at the end of the day, like, hey, if you showed up at your best, that's still improvement, no matter what the placings are. You can't change them. We're not in control of who does the scorecards. That's up to the judges. That's on them. We can get feedback and we can go from there. That's what it
Exactly.
is. It's detaching yourself from that is one of the biggest things. It's like, hey, these are what they're saying. Cool. Let's do it. That's it. That's fine. At the end of the day, like, you showed up at your best. You looked better than the last showing. You improved X amount. That's all that matters. That's at the end of the day, all that matters in
Yeah.
bodybuilding. Did you improve or did you not? Progression or regression? That's it.
And at the end of the day, I say it a lot when it comes to bodybuilding, and I think this is a perfect example of um, junior nap last year, right? When you look at Trevor Martin and he showed up. It was like you can't control who shows up, and if Keon's little brother
No.
wants to show up randomly,
Hey, let it
and
happen,
he,
bro.
yeah, like, hey, listen, did you look good? Did you show up with everything that you can control? Did you put it in the position to where, hey, no one can take this from me? I did exactly what I needed to do. And if you did, great job. If you didn't,
Yeah,
well, now you see why this might not have gone your way. Hey, that guy might have had better genetics than you. But if you didn't put in the work, you can't turn around and blame his genetics. You can only blame yourself. So
100%.
now let's get into something a little more juicy. I like to ask this question on it pretty much every
Okay.
podcast. Um, what has been for an athlete that you took from like zero to wherever you want to say 100 is? What has been the biggest change compound wise, nutrition wise, and training wise? One of the three with any of those guys.
So someone I've taken from 0 to 100, or like someone that like has come to me and I've shifted everything.
You've shifted everything. You've turned them from whatever, let's say they were, lower level amateur to somebody who's either competing on a national stage or, got their pro card or something along those lines. Someone who you truly helped progress.
Um, so myself personally, I'm not a high dosage guy. I think there is limitations to things. I think you can push as far as you want, but there's always, at the end of the day, we always know there's going to be some type of negative. End of the day, there's nothing we can change about it. That's just how it works. There is a limit to where the body can be pushed. Do I think that you can push it sometimes, but sometimes you can push it and redline for a little bit, and but you have to come back down. You can't be redlined the whole time. So I'll say dosages is one thing I'm very big on changing. Most guys who have came to me from past coaches, um, I always like to start fresh. Um, Even if they were on cycle prior, I will bring them back down, let myself learn their body, and then bring things back in. And I'll bring it in at lower dosages than what they were using prior. And like if the conversation comes up and they're like, "Hey, I don't think this is going to work," and this is because I know my body, I'll listen to it. I'll take feedback, um, and I'll adjust. And if they have enough data and I think it's tangible enough, I will change how I go about that when it comes to dosages. Nutrition wise, I mean, I'm a I'm a fan of like doing 5 meals a day. That's it. Um, I've gone up to doing 8 to 9 meals a day. I've gone to doing 4 meals a day. I've done everything in between. Personally, what I've found best is doing 5 meals per day. And everybody's different. Like everyone's nutrition is very, very different. I will say, like me personally, I'm definitely more on the moderate fat, higher carb, and probably lower on protein than most people. Like I think I don't really go above like 275 protein, give or take, unless someone is like gigantically tall or something like that. Then obviously I know they need more protein than most other guys. But like 275 is like kind of like cap on protein I'll go to. Um, and I won't go higher than like with fats in the off season. I don't like going above 90. I really don't. I think keeping it at a good threshold, and I think you can push carbs a little bit better and kind of shuttle more that way into training. And I think it works better that way.
Are you're keeping the carbs or you're keeping the fats away from the pre-post window? Or do you have
Um,
I know some guys like actually having some in the post-workout
I
window.
like having currently right now myself, I don't have any fats in pre-post for about 4 hours. So my first meal, I have like 30 grams of fat. My next meal has 2 grams of fat. And then my next 2 meals after that have a combined 8 grams of fat total. So I have about 10 grams of fat in the 3 meals, but that's over about 8 hours. And then my next 2 meals, I have more fats. Um, I some guys I like keeping in like 10 to 12 grams of fat, whether it's using like 93.7 beef as like their protein source, and I count the fats from that as well. I'll use butter, I'll use olive oil. I'm not a big fan of using peanut butter or almond butter pre-workout. I feel like it sticks too long and it kind of like clogs up the digestion tract and not doesn't clear as fast. And then post-workout, I'm not a big fats guy at all. I like getting quick carbs in, quick protein. So I'll normally do like whey isolate, cream of rice, rice cereals. bananas, dates, fruits, honey, anything in between. I'm more of like that when it comes to like pre and post workout. And I don't use like sweet potatoes or potatoes pre-workout. It's normally rice, cream of rice. That's maybe like my go-to. Rice cakes here and there. That's mostly if I have a girl, I'll use like rice cakes. If they're in prep, I'll use rice cakes. But
So what about training?
that's a good one. I can credit everything I've learned about training to Nick Loff, and I'm very thankful I've trained underneath him for a very long time. He's also probably my biggest inspiration when it comes to training. So, I mean, Nick knows that. So, anytime I program training, I like to program it around what's their weak points, what I think needs to come up, what I think needs to be prioritized, and I will pull away from their strong points. I'm not afraid to pull it down to like, hey, you only have 6 sets of this per week if it's a really strong point. Like I understand like arms, you can if they have really strong arms, like I'll just lower the frequency to like maybe once every 2 days. Something like that, like every other day. If they really like training arms, I'll do that. Because you can never have too much arms. That's just
Right.
yes, can't. Um, but if like their quads are like a really big strong point, I'll pull their training down pretty hard and I will like keep it very limited to what they can do, just so it doesn't become like a very glaring. I was like this. I had very strong quads for a very long time and my hamstrings were dog shit. And then I had to take a step back and I didn't really train quads that hard for like almost 2 years. I think I did like 6 sets total a week for about 2 years.
Must be
Just
nice.
quads. No, it was terrible. I hated it.
So I was,
I asked Gloff all the time to give me more and give me a bone. He told me no. It was okay.
I, uh,
I understood. Bigger picture.
I, I came from a coach before Joe, where I was
Mhm.
doing 2 31 set leg days per week.
Yeah, I don't think I do more than 10 sets on my leg days. And it still takes me about like an hour and a half to 2 hours.
Yeah, I'm Joe knocked that volume down. I think peak off season I was somewhere around 12. Right now I'm somewhere around 15. And the reason I'm around 15 is because he said no failure sets. So I was like, all right, if that's the case, then I'm adding sets in. Because
Fair.
there's no way in hell that I'm just gonna half-ass a set and take, 10 sets and take an hour to train legs. Today wound up being a lot, a lot shorter, but I just don't like doing that. I hate training legs for a very short amount of time, and training's
I
probably
like
the
taking
only
my
reason
time,
I do
bro.
this. Yeah,
Training,
so
yeah. Training is my first love. I'll always say that. Um, that I think for most of us in this sport, it is. If you don't love training that much, you're probably not going to last in bodybuilding that long. Um,
I agree.
but yeah,
Um, when
I
it
like
comes
taking
to
my
like,
time. I think of it as like music, like sheet music. That's how I look at it. Everything has a pitch, a tempo, and how to be played.
oh, I like that. I like that. I'm going to use that actually. That
Yeah, bro, that's
was
how I think of it. Like everything is like in a certain order, and you have to do it in that way.
there's a reason for everything, every single thing that you pick in there. So here's my next question for you then when it comes to training. Do you believe in certain rep ranges, rep schemes, tempos for different body parts, or do you kind of just? Because I know Nick Loff is more of the lower volume, higher intensity, higher frequency type of guy. Something that I found in the last year or so is that like certain body parts can absolutely take a beating. You want to put 7 sets of side lateral raises on a shoulder day or a push day and hammer the volume, turn around and just blow them the fuck up. They can handle it, and they can probably handle it 3 to 4 times a week.
Yeah, I think there are some body parts that can take more for sure. As long as you're recovering, but also that matters on the person's recovery bank. If you don't have a big recovery bank, you're just gonna run yourself up a wall. That's the biggest thing is making sure you're still recovering in between. Like we can do, like you just said, you can do 7 sets of laterals probably 3 to 4 times a week. That's 21 sets total. I think you could totally do that and I think they'll recover. But I also think at the same time you're taking away recovery from other areas as well. So you kind of have to prioritize like the total recovery bank. Um, Given if the person's on PEDs, that obviously brings up the recovery bank, how their sleep is, how their water is, how their nutrition is. Are they in a deficit? Are they in a surplus? That all comes into an effect when it comes to programming training as well. Because when you're in a deficit, sometimes you do need to pull back on training just a little bit to make sure you're still progressing the whole way through without, having like huge like I wouldn't say training should change a ton in prep. I think there should be a little pullback at certain points. And then obviously during peak week, training is very, very different because,
Yeah,
most of the time, once you get to 4 days out, you're literally just there, get a pump, get in, get out, move food around, see how you look, and just keep working through the day. Becomes a job.
great. It's a clock in, clock out situation.
Yep.
You're
Eat,
not you're
sleep,
not sitting there
pose.
trying to beat anything or beat anyone in the gym.
Nope.
I obviously had a very interesting situation with that, being
Yeah,
that,
I saw that. That's crazy.
yeah, we quite literally decided 6 days out. So it was like Saturday, Saturday the week before USA's or Junior USA's. We decided we were going to do the show, and it was kind of like in the air. I didn't book the flight or anything yet. We did a high day on Sunday, and he was like, "Cap it 1 rep before failure." It was like the rep that's a question mark. He was like, "Just don't take that one." So like I woke up on Tuesday, my legs were still kind of fucked, and it was like, "All right." He was like, "We're just not." He was like, "We're not training after Tuesday, so like you're gonna recover. You'll be fine."
Yeah.
So we didn't train. We didn't touch weights after Tuesday, and Tuesday's workout might have been 30 minutes tops. Um, then Wednesday flew in, kept my steps around 10,000 steps a day. Just didn't do cardio, and the only reason the steps were that high was realistically I still had to make weight,
Yeah.
and
Making
I
weight is
made.
also a terrible thing.
Yeah,
I
I
remember you
I
sitting there.
was.
I remember sitting there and you were like, I don't know if I'm gonna get 217 or 224. And you said you were like 222 at the time, so you're 2 pounds under, and you were just really hoping that they could hike you in early. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, you never really know at these shows. Like I did 3 shows in a row with Luke, and he got 3 different heights, three
that
different
was
heights, and none of them even like the median of all 3 heights doesn't line up with any of them. He got like 5'7" and 1/8, 5'7" and I think a quarter, and then he got like 5'6" and a quarter. So like doesn't really line up. Like that's a pretty big gap. It's a big inch difference, and that it can be the difference of making weight and not making weight.
Or even if they give you the time to go make the weight, like right outside. I don't know if you saw where the fitness center was,
Mm-hmm.
but like I
Yeah,
I planned it so that Austin was down there, so I could use his room key to get into that fitness center in case I needed to turn around and lose the weight.
yeah.
Um,
No, I remember going there the year prior with Joe, and I was like, we are a couple ounces underweight right now. Don't drink any water. Try and pee. Um, Spit in a cup if you need to. I'm not going to give you anything more. We really just need to go in there and make the weight. And I got lucky they heighted him taller, so he did have. I think the 176 was the cap, and he ended up being 6 pounds under. Um, but by the time like 30 minutes difference, you can lose. He lost 3 pounds in 30 minutes between us driving to the venue. Lost 3 pounds, and I was like, damn. And like he didn't do anything.
yeah, it's wild. So I left the hotel. I was 223.2. Um,
Yeah. So you were like point 0.8 under.
and I drove there with the windows up, the heat on, and I was like, just in case. And I wound up weighing in at 219 with my shirt off because I sat there and I was like, listen, on the absolute worst case scenario, I take this 2 pound fucking jersey off and they give me 220, 224. I somehow make 224 and, just I'm fucked.
Oh,
I'll put
I'm
this
that guy.
jersey.
I will strip down to my posing trunks to make sure I make weight. I've done it. I've done it
Yeah.
multiple times.
See,
My past shows, I've all made weight by 1 ounce. And that's when I realized I'm done with classic and I can never make the weight cap.
so what is your next plans?
So, um, well, I guess you could say I'm like 20-ish weeks out. Uh, I should probably be around like 220 to like 223 on stage, somewhere in that range. Um,
Nice.
yeah. Me and Dane are doing it together. Very thankful for that. So far, like we've kind of hit the ground running pretty quick. Nothing's really in play yet. We're kind of keeping things pretty easy. We did a little bit of a calorie drop. Weight's still staying pretty stable, but the look is changing quite drastically, which is nice. I don't really notice the hunger hit yet. And normally I notice it because like when my food gets like he slashed it like about 1,000 calories in like the first slash, and like normally you'll feel 1,000 calorie slash, and like I think I just haven't really felt it because I've been so busy. So like I don't really have time to feel what I'm supposed to. So I just kind of do what I need to do, and like my mind's just busy. So like, and obviously like I started a clothing company 2 weeks ago with like my two best friends, Luke and Jake, which is awesome. And that's
I'm
been
gonna put that in the bio or in the description below for
yeah,
anybody
dude,
interested.
that's been a we've just been creating new things every single day. Yesterday we created the garage into a warehouse ish, slash like where we're gonna do all our drops out of and everything like that. The turnout we had was incredible. I was None of us were expecting it to do the way it did, and it was a bit overwhelming at first because like, hey, we're traveling. Like we were like, okay, when we get back, we'll ship things out, and then he's like, oh, actually, we're gonna do Miami. So we went and did Miami, and then we ended up like, hey, now we're going to Junior USA. So we weren't really home. I've I've been home like maybe a total of 2 days this month, 3 days. This is my second day home.
Wow.
Last week I had one day home. Yeah, I got down to Florida on the 10th, I believe, the 10th of last month,
Oh
and I've been
wow.
here since.
That,
And
that's fucking wild.
now I'm thankful to call this my home.
There's the mic drop right there. It's a beautiful
Yeah,
thing.
man. Yeah. I knew I knew before I left. I actually told my mom this. I didn't tell anyone else. I told my mom, I was like, I know when I go down here the second time, I was like, I don't think I'm coming home. And she's like, what do you mean? I was like, I really don't think I'm coming home. Like after the first time I visited and like I was showing around and like I experienced everything and the bodybuilding culture down here and everything like that. Like I really love this place. It's really nice. I enjoy it. I never thought I really would because I live like a hermit. I Anyone who knows me, I sit in my office, I work all day, I eat, I sleep, I train. That's it. I work like a robot. That's me. I know my lifestyle is not for everyone, and that's okay. But that's how I work. That's how I process. That's how I do my things. But yeah, since I've been down here, I've been outside a little bit more in nature and like, kind of like it. So I don't know. Never
What
thought sitting outside would be a nice office.
I was gonna say you're outside right now, right?
Yeah, I'm outside right now. That's why I just have it covered, like the
Beautiful.
background. Yeah, but
Yeah,
it's beautiful out. It's like 80 degrees down here. But I'll be going
must
back and forth. I'm not leaving Jersey completely for all my people listening. I will be back and forth, um, just so we're all on the same page.
beautiful. What gym are you training at down there?
I'm training at Champs.
Sick.
It's worth the money.
I have no idea
It
how much it costs, but it
it's
seems
about
like it's a
150.
sick
It's
gym.
about 150 a month, which doesn't seem too uncommon down here from what I've gathered from all the other gyms down here. They're pretty reasonably around the same. So yeah, I mean, it's a great environment. There's great people there. I have some friends from home that are down here as well. Shout out John and Kiri. I've known them for many years, and they're great people. And they moved down here in January, I want to say December, January. Um, and yeah, I've linked up with them a couple times since I've been here, and I got Luke here, and I love it.
I was gonna say, and realistically, like there's motivation galore down there
Yeah,
in that gym
yeah, man.
specifically. There's tons
Bro,
of people who are
they're all
just,
nice. They're all nice people down here. Like that, and anyone will stop and talk to you. They'll ask you how you're doing. Like it's very different than the Northeast.
yeah, I
I
could,
I I never really realized it. Even in the years that I've been traveling as a coach, and all the areas I've been in, states I've been in training, and all these different environments, I've never really realized how different the cultures are in certain gyms. And like there are great gyms. Don't get me wrong. There are very great gyms in the Northeast where there is community like that, but there's not an overwhelming ton. And like down here, it seems like it's every single place is like that. And I think that's just Tampa in general.
It comes down to at the end of the day, like the bodybuilding community of like we're not competing against each other, we're all just competing in general, and we might step on the stage together, but like it's kind of what we were talking about before. It's being in the process of improvement. Me and you can
Yeah,
train
and that's
together, we could compete against each other, but at the end of the day, we're both just trying to put out the best version of ourselves on the
yeah.
stage.
I've had people in the past that I've coached and they've trained together their entire prep and they've been in the same class together and they've competed against each other and it's friendly competition. Um, I don't think people really understand that in certain areas. Like, hey, it's not always competition. It is competition at the end of the day when you get on stage, but the whole thing growing into it, like, it is very communities like based. Like, push the next person next to you. Like, you never know what somebody needs, how someone's day is, and if you can just make their day a little bit better and make them smile, or push them an extra rep or something like that, it'll go a world of difference, and they'll remember that. And that's something I've always tried to do since I've been in bodybuilding. And that's something that means a lot to me.
100%. With that said, like, comment, share, subscribe. We're going to get kicked off soon. Thank you guys. I will put his at and everything down below. Follow my boy. If you guys got any questions, shoot them down below. Thank you very much for coming on, brother. I appreciate it.
Thank you.